Hey everybody, this is Brian with Aromacup.com, and thank you as always for joining me here in my virtual coffee shop brought to you by Aromacup.com. I have a side-by-side comparison for you guys today between pretty much the behemoths here of the single-serve coffee world. I've got the brand new entry from Starbucks. That is the Verismo 580 that I have right here. In the center, I'm going to be showing you a little bit of information about the Keurig VUE, the V700. And then here on my left-hand side, I have the Tassimo T45 Suprema single-serve coffee machine. There's some definite differences between each of these different machines. So I'm going to dive in. I'm going to show you guys the differences between each of them and tell you a little bit about each of them so that when you go out to buy one of these machines, you have the most information that you need in order to be able to get the right product for you. So let's dive in and start talking about these three machines side by side. Alright guys, so here on my right hand side I have the brand new entry into the world of single serve coffee. That's the Verismo single serve machine by Starbucks. We've done some videos on this, given you some recipes and some other information on it. And let me tell you a little bit about the trays on each of these machines in comparison to the Verismo. The Verismo's tray is pretty basic, very much along the lines of what we've seen on other machines. It has a removable tray system. You can pull out this tray which lifts up and gives you enough space in order to just use a regular espresso style shot glass if you want to keep that one in. If you want to give yourself a little bit more room for a tumbler or something like that, you can pull off the metal drain tray and put it onto the shorter tray down here on the bottom. Now, you are also going to find that this tray doubles as a storage system for your spent coffee pods. So when you pull this out, you're going to find on the back a reservoir for catching spent coffee pods for the Verismo 580. And this is also where, of course, you're going to get all of your extra coffee, water, things like that from the Verismo as you go along and brew your beverages. So this is very much the same as what we have seen on these other machines. With the Keurig VUE, we have a different type of removable tray. We can pull our tray out in order to access the drain, and we can also just pull our tray out entirely. This way we can put in larger tumblers and things like that. Now the VUE in comparison to the Verismo machine definitely has more room for larger tumblers. It's still hard to fit even a very large tumbler underneath the Verismo, even if you take that top tray out and simply use the metal tray on the shorter bottom one. I have found that you just can't fit some larger tumblers in there. You can fit them underneath the V700 a lot easier. And then over here on the Tassimo T45, this one has a little bit of a very different tray system, namely because the tray has this quickly adjustable height tray right here. You can just grab this little handle and move the tray up or down. Now draining and cleaning of this is easy because you can simply take that tray out and then you can pull out the entire tray system in order to be able to clean the Tassimo tray. Now what you're also going to find is that you can remove the tray entirely. Now, so that definitely gives you a whole lot more space in order to be able to add large tumblers and brew into them. So when it comes to being able to brew into larger cup sizes, the VUE and the Tassimo certainly win the competition, I think, over the Verismo, because the Verismo is just a little bit rigid in the tray size and cup size that you can put into it and things like that. So that could be a deciding factor. I don't think it's really enough to make you want to choose one machine or another, of course. So let's go ahead and talk about how the different machines operate and what you can expect from each one. Now, let's talk about operation between these machines and what you can expect from each one. The T45, I think, wins in terms of simplicity. And that's because when it comes to the actual operation of the unit, it's super simple. You have one button on the face of the T45. The reason you only have that one button is because the Tassimo T45 is the BrewBot. It has the patented barcode reading system inside of it, and we'll talk about this when we get into talking about pods with all of these machines. That barcode system tells the machine exactly what type of beverage it is that you're going to make. So the Tassimo definitely wins in terms of simplicity, because all it is add a pod to your machine and start brewing. Press that big silver button and you're ready to go. The VUE, in comparison to the Tassimo and also to the Verismo, the VUE is definitely the most complex of all of these machines. Reason being that it has a touchscreen system on the top of it. This touchscreen system is going to give you access to making simple drinks such as coffees and teas, also espressos, and then you also have the ability to make cafe-style drinks using this machine, so that drinks that make use of milk pods and various things like that, hot chocolate, so on and so forth. And then you also will find an option on this touchscreen for iced beverages. So all of those different options go into the operation of the machine and what it is that you can make with it. The overall operation is fairly simple, because all that you're going to need to do is simply select what you want to make on your touchscreen and then press the big brew button on the top of the Keurig VUE. So operation is definitely simple, but more complex than the T45, and definitely more complex than the Verismo. Let's talk about the Verismo a little bit and its overall operation. This one is very simple. In terms of simplicity, it's probably the runner-up, because it's really only got 3 buttons here on the face of it. On the top, you have the rinsing button, which also doubles as the button for running a single shot of espresso out of the machine. In the middle, you have the brewed button, and this is what you're going to use for making brewed coffee and any type of drink, which just simply requires more water for that pod, which you are using in the Verismo machine. And then on the bottom, you have the milk button, and the milk button is simply for making milk, frothed milk, using a milk pod for the Verismo. So in terms of operation, again, it is very simple. It is not as simple as the T45. So this would be the runner-up. The T45 would be the top of the heap right there, most definitely, in terms of simplicity, and then the Keurig VUE, the most complex when it comes to operation. Now, of course, all of these different operation qualities of each of these machines are going to affect what type of beverages you can make with the machines, and we'll talk about pods and beverages in just a moment. Let's go ahead and dive in and talk about reservoir types on each of these machines before we go into pods. When it comes to reservoirs, the VUE definitely wins in terms of reservoir size. It's got a 74-ounce water reservoir which mounts onto the side. The cool thing about the reservoir on the Keurig VUE is that you can fill it by simply lifting up this little door on the front of the unit, and then you can just pour water right into it. Now, it is also pretty easy to remove if you want to remove it. You can just simply pull up, and that's your reservoir right there. Let's talk about the T45 by Tassimo. Its reservoir is really easy to use as well. You have a lid which you can simply remove, and this lid has a filter sort of calendar on it, an indicator. That's because there is a filter inside of this water reservoir. This is a 64-ounce reservoir. We don't have the filter in it right now, but it's a regular replaceable charcoal water filter that is pretty useful. So if you want to be very picky, about the water that you're going to be getting out of your machine, you could go for the T45, because this is one of the few single-serve machines that has a filter inside of its water reservoir. Now, that small calendar function on the top of the machine is what you can use in order to keep track of when it is time to change the filter on the T45. Let's talk about the Verismo in terms of its reservoir. The Verismo has a 33-ounce water reservoir located on the back of the unit. Now, one thing that I do very much like about the Verismo, because you'll notice that it took me a little bit of fiddling in order to get the reservoir off of the VUE in the T45, the reservoir on the Verismo is really easy. You just kind of pull back on it and then just simply remove it. This is a 33-ounce reservoir. Probably get a little bit more in there if you go above the fill line that's located right here. But again, no water filter on this. So you do want to make sure that you are using filtered or distilled water. But you notice it's really easy to pull that reservoir off, fill it up, and put it back on. So again, if we're talking about who wins in terms of reservoir, Definitely reservoir size, the VUE is going to win with that 74 ounce, followed closely by the T45 with the 64 ounce reservoir, but that one is the only one with a filter on it. And then the Verismo is last with its 33 ounce reservoir, but when it comes to ease of use, I would say that taking out reservoir, easiest on the Verismo, filling, very easy on both the Keurig VUE and the T45. Okay, let's talk about pods and the differences between each of the pods, because each of these machines uses its own proprietary pod type in order to brew your beverages. So let's start off with the Keurig VUE. The VUE uses VUE packs. These are different from Keurig K-Cups that we have seen in the past because on average they are usually a little bit bigger. They have a bit of a different filtration system in them. They are still vacuum sealed, and there's a number of different types of VUE packs that you can get for the Keurig VUE. You can get iced coffees, iced teas, regular coffees, regular teas, specialty drinks such as hot cocos, and cafe lattes, various things like that. All of these are going to interface with the touchscreen system on the VUE in order to allow you to make a number of different drinks. So the VUE is definitely probably the winner when it comes to the variety of beverages that you can make with this single serve machine. The operation of it is also very, very simple. Take this VUE pack, open up the brew station here on the top of the VUE, and then you simply place your pod inside of the machine and close it up. There's a needle system in there that's going to puncture that vacuum sealed Keurig VUE pack, and it's going to get it ready for brewing. Then you simply need to choose what you want to brew and press the big brew button. So operation and usage of the coffee pods on the VUE is very, very easy. Let's talk about the Tassimo now. Now, the T45 uses probably the most proprietary pod system that we have seen in essentially any single-serve coffee machine, and that's because it uses Tassimo T-discs. Now, a T-disc is unique to all of the other single-serve machines on the market in general, because you're going to notice that they each have these barcodes on top of them. That barcode is what is going to be read by a barcode scanner inside of the T45, and that barcode is going to tell the T45 exactly what type of drink it is that you are making with the T-disc. So when it comes to variety of drinks, the Tassimo is pretty much very, very close to the Keurig, guys. It's really close. There are iced coffees, iced teas, regular coffees, regular teas, and specialty drinks, because you can get milk pods, chocolate pods, and many other different pod types for the T45. So the T45 and the Keurig VUE are probably just about matched. The T45, because it has the sort of robotic brewing system, the barcode brewing system, it definitely dials in, I think, the flavor of the drink pretty much to an exact science. The usage is pretty easy. You notice I just simply opened up the brew basket here on the top of the T45. I'm going to take my T-disc and I'm just going to pop it into the brew basket. After I've popped it in, I just simply need to close that up. That punctures the T-disc and gets it ready for brewing. So operationally, again, very, very simple, because you just pop that T-disc in, press the big silver button, and you're ready to go. So when it comes to variety of drinks, the VUE and the T45 are definitely winning over the Verismo, but let's talk about Verismo pods here so we can give you an idea of what is available to you in terms of variety of beverages. Now, at the time of the making of this video, there's not a whole lot of different pod types that you can get for the Verismo by Starbucks. You have what you come to expect, which is, of course, brewed coffee. This is a Cafe Verona brewed coffee pod for the Verismo. Now, these are different from any of the other single-serve pods that I have encountered because they do have a freshness seal on the bottom of them. That freshness seal needs to be removed before you start to brew using a brewed coffee pod for the Verismo. So you just grab this small tab right here and pull. You're going to hear a little bit of air come out, and then you're going to notice that there's a little bit of white filter right there. That's the filtration system for the Verismo brewed coffee pod. But once you've removed that freshness tab, all you need to do is open up the top brewing lever on the Verismo, slide your pod in, and then close that brew lever down. When you close that, you're going to puncture the top of that Verismo pod, and now you just simply need to choose the drink you want to make, which again is very simple because all you're going to do is press the middle button, because we are just making a simple brewed cup of coffee. Now when you open up that lever, you're going to drop the spent pod down and into the tray collection, the collection tray that's right down here underneath the brew spigot. That is different from the Keurig VUE and the T45. Neither of them do have anything like that. In order to do cleanup, you have to open up and take the pod out. Now, let me show you the other two pod types for the Verismo. I have here an Espresso Verismo pod. The Espresso pod is different because it does not have a freshness seal on the back of it. When you drop this pod into the Verismo machine, you're just simply going to be puncturing this pod and getting it ready for brewing. The third pod type is the milk pod, and the milk pod is just a 2% milk fat powdered milk inside of this pod. Easy to tell because it's white, does not have a freshness seal, and again, all we need to do is pop this into the machine and then choose the pod type that we want to brew with. There are no iced coffees or iced teas at this time. There are also no hot teas at this time, and no specialty drinks except for the cafe latte pack. There's no hot chocolates or anything along those lines. There may be down the road, but if you check out our other videos, you can find some other recipes for how you can make drinks like that using the Verismo without having to have specialty pods. So, in a little bit of review right there when it comes to pods between each of these machines, the Keurig VUE definitely probably has the most pod types, which you can get. The VUE packs come available in a number of different types and different beverage types and sizes, flavors, various things like that. The Tassimo is a very close runner-up because it also has a number of different pod types which you can get for the tea discs, specialty drinks, ice drinks, things like that, and it is the only system with the barcode reading system built into the machine. The Verismo at this time is very limited, unfortunately. It only has those 3 pod types which I have shown you guys, but that's okay if you're looking for something that's very simple but will also allow you to do espresso and coffee as well as some milk drinks. The Verismo is a good entry for that. You can also do some espresso drinks with each of these other machines, the VUE and the T45, and you can also do milk drinks, but it really just depends on how complex you want to get with your single serve machine. That said, let's go ahead and just do a little bit of an overview with each of these machines one more time, just to give you a quick refresher on everything we've spoken about, because obviously we've covered quite a lot of information so far. Okay, so let's get down to brass tacks, as they say, right? Because you guys probably really want to know, what do these machines cost? Well, this is going to differ, of course, depending on where it is that you buy your machine. But I'm just going to give you guys regular manufacturer suggested retail prices for these machines, which we've seen on the internet and things like that. The Verismo, at the making of this video, is retailing for $199, and you can find it online. You can find it in some boutique stores and things like that. So $199 for the Verismo by Starbucks. With the Keurig VUE, you're looking at $229 for this machine, and again, available in a multitude of different stores online and brick and mortar stores, various things like that. Not a bad price for a behemoth of a machine like this, I do have to say. With the Tassimo T45, you've got the lowest price point of any of these machines at $129. Now, there are other Tassimo machines and, of course, other Keurig machines, so the pricing is going to vary when you're going on and you're making your decision. If you're making your decision based on price, if you want to go for the lowest, you're probably going to want to go for a Tassimo machine. Tassimo machines generally are the lowest priced machines from what I have seen. Keurig machines can be priced quite low, but can definitely get much higher in the price. Again, like I say, $229 for the Keurig VUE and $199 over here on the Verismo. Nice kind of middle of the ground, but again, a little bit limited in the beverages that it can do. So if you're looking for something that is quite well-rounded, and you're looking for something that price-wise is definitely going to treat you right, probably want to look at a Tassimo machine. You're going to find a nice low price on those machines. You're going to find a variety of different beverages that you can make. Very easy to use using the T-disc system. Good size water reservoir. Super easy to use with just that one silver button right there and the barcode reading system that is inside of the machine. When it comes to a nice well-rounded machine, T45 definitely does quite well. If you're looking for something that's got a ton of bells and whistles, definitely going to make your friends go ooh and ah when you show it to them in your kitchen or your own at-home coffee shop, things like that, you're going to want to check out a Keurig VUE. The V700, again, has a number of different options, has that touch screen on it for accessing all manner of different beverage types. Simple operation with the brew button on the top after you've chosen the beverage type that you want to use. The Keurig VUE packs are very easy to use and come in a multitude of different flavors and types depending on what it is that you would like. Got a fairly large reservoir on the Keurig VUE, as well as very easy to fill. Tray system also very simple for making different drink sizes and various things like that. And definitely a behemoth of a machine. This one also has the most heft, I should say. This is the heaviest machine of all of these. The Verismo, again, like I say, it's a pretty nice middle-of-the-road machine. Again, if you're basing your purchase just on price and maybe somewhat on what the machine can do, the Verismo is probably going to treat you pretty right. $199. Only has a few different pod types that it has access to at this time, but that is hopefully going to change. Very easy to use with the 3 operation buttons on the front, easy to remove tray. A little bit restrictive on the types of mugs and tumblers and things that you can fit under the brew spigot, but that is probably not something that should necessarily stop you from buying a certain machine. And the operation also very simple with that lever system on the top of the Verismo and just dropping your pod directly into the machine and choosing what it is that you would like to brew. Also, the water reservoir on this, a little bit smaller than all of the others, 33 ounces, so you are going to be filling it up, and it does not have a filter in it. But again, probably not something that really is going to be a deal breaker for you unless that's the kind of thing that matters to you. So, that right there, guys, is a side-by-side comparison of all of these machines. These are 3 of the major players in the world of single serve. Again, the Verismo is brand new from Starbucks, and we're bringing you exclusive reviews, overviews, recipes, and more information on it here at Aromacup.com. The Keurig VUE, we've spoken about it lots in the past. Check out our other videos for recipes and more information that you can find out about using this machine. And of course, the T45 has been with us since pretty much the beginning here at Aromacup.com. Tassimo makes a great single serve machine, definitely one of my favorites. Gives you access to a lot of different drinks. That right there, again, side-by-side comparison. I hope it's been useful to you guys. If you have questions, comments, anything else, please hit us up in the comments here of our video. Feel free to ask us anything that you're wondering about. And of course, always make sure to check out our other videos so that you can make the most informed decision that you possibly can before you go out and buy a single serve machine. We hope that this is helpful to you guys. As always, I'm Brian, coming to you from my virtual coffee shop, brought to you by Aromacup.com. I thank you guys for joining me, and I hope to see you again soon. Enjoy your cup and take care.